Wow, this is a Fox News alert right now. Israeli troops are going room to room inside
I hope
Gaza.
you can hear the sound of gunshots. This is one of the biggest hospitals in Gaza. They have gone to the level of door-to-door raiding. You see, I don't want to talk too much. We're going to hear from Alex and the rest of them. But before I forget, please don't forget to subscribe. Touch the like button. Share it so that other people will see the updates I am bringing to you every day. Please don't forget to touch the like button. Now, let's go there.
Wow, this is a Fox News alert right now. Israeli troops are going room to room inside Gaza's largest hospital after some bloody street battles, as you can see. And they're also going underground. They're hunting for Hamas terrorists, and they're looking for any information on those 200 plus hostages that were taken in that attack on October 7th.
It's really dangerous, Ainsley, because they don't have the surprise that they typically would have. The White House now publicly stating what the Israelis have said all along, that Hamas is using medical facilities as command centers.
I can confirm for you that we have information that Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad use some hospitals in the Gaza Strip, including Al-Shifa, and tunnels underneath them to conceal and to support their military operations and to hold hostages.
Here you go. This targeted raid coming after the IDF's delivery of incubators, baby food, and medical supplies to help doctors caring for Palestinian civilians. We also have a medical ship that France is sending right off the coast.
And I am right now in our nation's capital one day after, look at that, nearly 300,000 people peacefully rallied against anti-Semitism and for the safe return of the 200 plus hostages. We're going to have more on that march for Israel in just a moment. But first, we go to Alex Hogan live on the ground in northern Israel. Alex.
Good morning. It's been really increased tension here. A major attack just taking place on the hillside behind me. Our crew ran downstairs to the bomb shelter where we have a monitor showing what it looks like up here. There is a camera able to see what is taking place. And we saw about 15 incoming rockets, again, hitting the hillside behind me. You can still see some of the smoke there. The hillside is the border of Lebanon. So those were 15 missiles and rockets fired this way from Hezbollah. Now, meanwhile, looking at the south, major escalation there as well in Gaza as the IDF presses forward, entering now the Al-Shifa hospital. This is the largest hospital in Gaza where the IDF says today it was able to find weapons, ammunitions, and more military infrastructure inside that hospital. That is something that we've heard from the Pentagon this week, confirming that they agree, they believe that Hamas has been using some of these medical facilities as places to not only store weapons, but potentially store hostages as well. So more will likely come throughout the day about what exactly they find after this stalemate that we've seen in recent days. But the IDF also delivered much needed supplies, health care systems, food, baby formula for those children that are still there and the patients. But the IDF also, in entering the hospital, we're hearing some alarming concerns from the UN saying that they have not been able to get in touch with any of their hospital staff. And all of this is taking place as the IDF presses further into Gaza. The country's defense minister, Yoav Gallant, says that there would be no space for people anywhere, no safety until those hostages are returned. Now, meanwhile, we're learning more about a Biden administration deal that would essentially allow Iran to access $10 billion from Iraq in electricity purchases. That's creating a lot of concern, of course, because as we're seeing these rocket attacks coming here and these missiles that are from Hezbollah, we do know that Hezbollah is largely funded by Iran. So a lot of concern on that front, especially as we continue to see these attacks on U.S. military bases here in the Middle East. Guys, back to you.
Hey, Alex, I'm wondering, did that rocket get knocked out by missile defense or any type of Iron Dome activity, or it landed? So
No, it did not. Honestly, in parts of this part of the country, you're lucky if you get 10 seconds to make it to a shelter.
Wow.
And with most of the town that you see behind me completely evacuated, the Iron Dome not striking every single rocket missile that we do see, we have seen soldiers stationed throughout a lot of the fields in this area. And what they do, they essentially, right after we see these incoming attacks, we'll hear the artillery start to fire off. And that's the IDF locating exactly where these launches were sent from and then taking out those targets. So within a few seconds, we were able to hear those crossfire attacks, and we'll likely continue to hear that throughout the day. Worth noting, as Hezbollah was firing here on the north, there were also Hamas rockets being fired from Gaza. So while the north is definitely in a state of escalation, we're continuing to see that along the south for residents there as well.
It's unbelievable they
That's
can
right.
still
And
have rocket fire.
Yeah. And Alex, you were talking a little bit about how the IDF was doing targeted searches inside the hospital. I was just noticing on Daily Mail that it said that apparently they went in, IDF, the Israelis, went in with a bullhorn, speaking in Arabic, and said, all men 16 years and above, raise your hands, and exit the building to go out into the courtyard. And they led, there were 1,000 guys that qualified, men hiding under the hospital, taken outside. They were searched for weapons and also guns and stuff like that, which just proves if they took 1,000 young men out of the hospital this morning, that just proves that the Hamas was using that as an HQ.
Yeah, and we've heard from the IDF that the main concern in recent days and the reason for not going in any sooner was the very real threat that this would impact patients that are in there, patients that are hooked up and cannot leave the machine specifically that they're on. The IDF today says that it was able to go in with these tactical approaches. And as you mentioned, there were Arabic speakers, soldiers within the IDF who had been specifically trained for this, to try to go in, find Hamas militants, but also prevent the loss of life from civilians that are trapped and really unable to evacuate. We've heard for weeks now the IDF trying to get those patients out, but it's simply not possible for some of these patients that cannot be evacuated. They can't be unhooked from their machines. It will be very interesting to see in the hours that follow what exactly it is that they find. We do have some first images now coming out of what it looks like, some of the artillery that they found, the military setup. But it is really important to note that this has been a major operation. This is exactly where the IDF says that it's been able to locate this Hamas stronghold. And it was just last night when the country's defense minister said that the IDF has now fully taken control of the north, while it also mentioned that the Al-Shifa hospital was this crucial spot that it needed to be able to enter. So if the IDF does fully manage to take Al-Shifa, it's going to be very interesting to watch to see what plays out by this time tomorrow.
Well, maybe if they do, they'll be able to go down into the tunnel system and grab our hostages that are there. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Alex.